All right, the crucial Pennsylvania Senate primary race has gotten even closer over the last 24 hours. Dr. Mehmet Oz right now clinging to a roughly 1,000-vote lead over businessman David McCormick.
Yeah, for more on this, let's welcome in Pennsylvania Congressman and member of the House Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committee and Iraq War veteran Guy Reschenthaler. Welcome back to Wake Up America, sir.
Thanks for having me back on.
Of
Please
course.
Just call me Guy.
I know you say that all the time.
If I say that, I'm going to have to march right down to the office after the show.
We're going to get in trouble.
Like, you can't, he's a congressman.
Yeah.
You got to call him a congressman. We appreciate that. Good to have you back on. Take us through what's going on in Pennsylvania right now. And we had Mark Halpern, political analyst, on earlier, and he said, traditionally what we've seen historically happen is whoever's leading going into a possible recount typically wins that recount. The most famous example, George W. Bush in 2000. But how do you see this playing out?
Well, I totally agree with Halpern. And what you're seeing here is that Dr. Oz has a lead of about 1,200 votes. And the McCormick camp is really hoping that there's a lot more outstanding ballots than there really are. And the reason is because McCormick seems to be outperforming Dr. Oz on the mail-in ballot. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Remember, some of these ballots came in prior to the Trump endorsement. A lot of them came in after the Trump endorsement, but before all the ads hit TV with Trump endorsing Dr. Oz.
Right.
So McCormick does have a slight advantage on these mail-in ballots. However, it's just not enough to overtake Dr. Oz. The McCormick camp thinks there's something like 15,000 outstanding ballots. I'm at a loss as to where they're getting the numbers, because if you talk to the Secretary of State in Pennsylvania, it looks like there's fewer than 5,000 outstanding ballots. And McCormick is really focused on Allegheny County. It's the county where Pittsburgh is, because he thinks he has this big advantage there. But in the areas that are still outstanding, they're predominantly blue-collar, working-class neighborhoods. McCormick did incredibly well with rich, affluent voters. Dr. Oz did incredibly well with working-class voters. So I would predict that at best McCormick will be at a 50-50 break on the ballots coming from Allegheny County, of which there's only about 1,800 left.
And we're witnessing a political realignment. So many working class voters. You think about those Reagan Democrats back in the 1980s. They are now voting red. They are voting for Republicans.
Yeah. Congressman Oz and McCormick, they reportedly lawyered up as the pair brace for what figures to be a drawn-out recount period. Many expect the candidates to fight in the media, maybe in the courtroom. But how long do you think it's going to take? Because whoever the winner is, they got to get campaigning.
Right.
They do, and they have to get campaigning, especially when you have the juggernaut that is John Fetterman, that for whatever reason, people don't take him seriously enough. He's a very formidable candidate. I still think Dr. Oz is the only one that can beat Fetterman in the fall. But going back to the timeline, there's going to be an automatic recount, because in Pennsylvania, if you're under 0.5%, there is an automatic recount. The recount can start no later than, I believe, June 1st. It has to wrap up within a week. So by June 7th, we should have a resolution on this case. And hopefully Dr. Oz can put this legal battle behind him and focus on beating Fetterman.
Good point there. And Jim Baker advised George W. Bush in 2000 to act like he won the election while the recount was happening. And the recount, it took a while for that to take place. Let's say the recount does happen. Would you advise whoever's leading going into the recount to start campaigning around Pennsylvania, start campaigning throughout the Keystone State like you've already won?
Yes, I'm a big proponent of continuing the campaign, because, again, the numbers show that Dr. Oz is going to win this race even after the legal battle. We can't afford to give Fetterman an even larger edge in this critical swing state. So that's why the Oz campaign still should be moving forward with the campaign and making sure that we're taking the fight, the Fetterman and the Democrats, for the fall election. Yeah. Remember, Pennsylvania is not Virginia. We did not see the huge red wave like we had with the Youngkin race in Virginia. This is going to be hard fought. We can't cede any time to the Democrats. And that's why we need to keep the pressure on the left to make sure we win this election in the fall.
Congressman, great point. And, you think about that Trump endorsement. Makes a difference. Trump won Pennsylvania 2016. That was the first Republican to carry that state since George H.W. Bush back in 1988. So you can't discount that as well. Congressman Guy Reschenthaler, great to see you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Alison.